the best DMS in 2026. And I know exactly what some of you are thinking. Go on then, Simon, say it. Which one is the best? Don't choose a system for the dealership you are today. Choose the system for the dealership you're trying to become. The worst DMS choice is not usually a bad system. It's a good system bought by the wrong type of dealer. Welcome to Dealer Tech Talk, where we explore how technology is transforming car and motorhome dealerships. I'm Simon Verona. This podcast is sponsored by DMS Navigator, the dealer management system to help you be more efficient, deliver better customer service and improve your profits, and by my old companion, increasing customer retention, keeping buyers connected and improving lifetime customer income and profit. And today's episode is called the best DMS in 2026. And I know exactly what some of you are thinking. Go on then, Simon, say it. Which one is the best? Is it Keyloop? Or maybe it's Pinewood AI? Or is it Navigator? Or Gemini? Dragon? Maybe DealerKit? Is it one of the other systems on the market? Or is it the one that your mate down the road uses? Or one the manufacturer prefers? The one with the slickest demo? Or the one maybe with the longest feature list? Well, today, I'm going to give you the big reveal. The best DMS in 2026 is the one that fits your dealership. I know that sounds like a cop-out. It sounds like the sort of answer someone gives when they don't want to upset anyone. But it's not a cop-out at all. It's probably the single most important point in the whole DMS selection process. Because the biggest mistakes dealers make when choosing a dealer management system is that they start with the wrong question. They ask, which DMS is best? When the better question is, which DMS is best for our type of dealership, the way that we work with the people that we have, the processes we need, and the problems we're actually trying to solve. And there are plenty of good systems in the marketplace. In fact, it's hard to find a bad system. But some are designed for more large franchise dealer groups and complex multi-site operations. Some are better suited to smaller franchise businesses or independent dealers. Some are strongest around showrooms, CRM and sales follow-up. And some are built around sales and workshop processes. There are some that have integrated accounts, while others work with third-party accounting systems, similarly with CRM systems. Some give you lots of structure and control, and others are lighter and more flexible. So the important thing is not to find the system that someone else says is best. The important thing is to understand your dealership properly and then match the system to your business. And in this episode, I want to talk therefore about how dealers should think about choosing a DMS in 2026. We'll look at what type of dealership you are and what makes your business different, what problems you need to fix, and how different types of system tend to fit different types of operation. And to make it clear, this is not going to be a league table. It's not going to be a list of winners and losers. It's going to be a practical way about thinking about fit. Because the worst DMS choice is not usually a bad system. It's a good system bought by the wrong type of dealer. So the first thing is, DMS is not just another piece of software. It's not like choosing a printer, for example, or a website plugin, or even a phone system. The DMS should become an operational backbone of your dealership. It should influence almost everything you do. How sales inquiries are handled, how vehicles are brought into stock, how preparation costs are controlled, sales admin flows, invoices are raised, customer communication with, and how after sales and workshop activity is managed. Underneath that, you've got how accounts are connected, how managers see the numbers, and how the business stays compliant. In many dealerships, the DMS quietly shapes the way people work every single day. That's why choosing one is not simply a technology decision, it's an operational decision. And this is where dealers can often get into trouble. They'll see a demo, the screens look modern. The salesperson shows you dashboards, buttons, reports, integrations, automations, and clever-looking workflows. It's easy to be impressed. But the real question is not whether the system has lots of features. The real question is whether those features will improve the way your dealership works and whether you can use them. A feature only matters if it solves a problem you genuinely have. And if your dealership, for example, is losing leads because salespeople don't follow up properly, then showroom CRM and inquiry management may be critical. If prep costs are running away with you, then stock cost control and reporting may be more important. If your workshop is inefficient, then diary management, job cost, technician visibility, and the after sales process may matter most. And if you run a multi-site group, then branch level reporting, permissions, centralized visibility, and process consistency may be vital. But if you're a small, owner managed independent dealer, you may care more about speed, simplicity, basic control, and not having to key the same information into 5 different systems. So before you compare systems, you have to understand your own needs, and that's the starting point. So what sort of dealership are you? And that's the first thing to understand, is what sort of dealership you are. That might sound obvious, but it's not often explored properly. A franchise dealership may have manufacturer requirements, a franchise reporting, warranty processes, new vehicle sales processes, parts workshop technician requirements, and more formal standards to follow. An independent dealership may be more focused on stock turn, inquiry handling, vehicle preparation, margin control, finance, advertising fields, customer follow up, compliance, and keeping admin under control. Neither model is better. They're just simply different. And because they're different, they may need different systems. Scale matters as well. A single site dealer may want speeds, interviews, and practical workflows. The owners or directors may be close to the day to day running of the business, and they may want quick answers to simple but important questions. What's in stock? What's it cost us? What profits in the deal? What inquiries are outstanding? What vehicles are aging? What's due in the workshop and what needs chasing? But a multi-site dealer needs a different level of control. It may need some centralized reporting, branch comparisons, group stock visibility, some strong permissions for staff, process consistency, group level accounting, and the ability to manage a larger team across different locations. And that team size changes the requirement too. A 5-person dealership and a 500-person dealer group don't need exactly the same thing. The more people you have, the more your DMS has to control that process. The smaller the team, the more your DMS has to save time. Then there's management style. Some dealerships are already highly process driven. They want tasks, approvals, controls, exceptions, and reporting. Others are more flexible and relationship led. They need structure, but they don't want to be boxed in by a system that forces every customer, every vehicle and deal down exactly the same route. And what you sell also matters. A motorhome dealer will have a different deposit, preparation, handover, and after sales needs from a high volume used car dealer. A van dealer may have different customer types and finance workflows from a prestige car dealer. And a franchise dealer will definitely have different manufacturer and warranty requirements from a fully independent operation. So going back to my original question, what's the best DMS? The first response should always be, what sort of dealership are you? And that question changes everything. And then you have to consider what problems you're trying to fix. Before you look at any system, take time to write down the specific problems in your dealership. Not vague problems like, we need a better system, but real operational problems. It might be that inquiries are being missed, customers are not being followed up consistently, preparation costs are not visible early enough, or managers can't see true profit until too late. It might be that workshop loading is not controlled properly, or sales admin takes too long, accounts information is disconnected from the sales process, or the business is still relying on spreadsheets for things that really should be managed inside the DMS. Maybe your team does not use your current system properly, or that you're double keying information, or that advertising stock takes too much manual effort, or customer communication is inconsistent, or that growth is being hampered by the system you have in process. Those are the issues that matter, because once you understand your problems, you can evaluate a DMS properly. If your biggest issue, for example, is inquiry follow-up, the CRM lead management is central. If the issue is profit leakage, then cost control and deal reporting, prep tracking, and accounts integration matter. And again, if your biggest issue is workshop efficiency, Then obviously the after sales systems and processes, booking, labour, technician, job card processes need close attention. For many dealerships, the biggest problem is management control, and therefore reporting and dashboards are not nice to have, they're essential. And if time is your issue, then the ease of use and reducing duplicate entry may be worth more than a long list of features your team will never touch. And that's why feature lists can be misleading. A system can have hundreds of features and still not solve your top 3 problems. Another system may have fewer features but solve exactly what's holding your dealership back. A DMS cannot fix a dealership that does not know what it wants to improve, but the right DMS can make a good dealership far more efficient. Then, of course, the next question is, what makes you unique as a dealer? Every dealer wants to sell more vehicles, make more profit, and improve customer service, but that doesn't make you unique. What makes your business different is usually the way you operate. You might be fast moving, stock term focused, you might be service led, relationship led, specialist, volume driven, or highly process focused, or built around reputation involvement of the owner. You may be trying to grow, professionalize, reduce dependency on 1 or 2 key people, or create consistency across multiple sites, or bringing everything into one connected view of your business. Your DMS should therefore support what makes you strong. If your competitive advantage is speed, you need a system that helps you move quickly. If your advantage is process and control, you need a system that supports that. And again, if your advantage is customer retention, you need that CRM, good after sales with communication reminder tools. And if you're specializing in particular types of vehicle, you need flexibility. And again, if you're going back to management discipline, that needs information and data that you can rely on. The right DMS should not just process transactions, it should support the way that your dealership wins. So let's stop talking about generics. Let's talk about systems. Let's talk about some names. Let's talk about this carefully. It's not a ranking. It's not a best to worst. It's about best fit. Different DMS platforms are designed around different assumptions. Some assume a larger group structure, a franchise complexity, and heavy integration requirements. Some, at the other end of the scale, assume an owner-managed independent dealer that wants joined up workflows and better control. There are some that are sales-led, where CRM and lead conversion are priority. Some assume accounting is part of the DMS, while others assume a dealer will want a third-party accounting package. So rather than comparing every single feature by feature, it's more useful to think about the market in broad bands. So let's talk about maybe the larger scale dealership platforms. And at the larger end of the market, you've got systems such as Keyloop, Pinewood AI. These are the sort of platforms that suit larger franchise dealer groups, multi-site operations, and businesses with complex manufacturer, reporting, sales, after sales, accounting, and CRM requirements. Pinewood, for example, positions itself around dealer operations at scale with multi-site groups, real-time data, role-based dashboards, embedded business information, and integrated dealership processes. This gives you a good sense of the type of environment where systems in this band may be relevant. Larger businesses with more complex structures and organizations that need depth control and integration between departments. For the right dealer, this type of platform can be extremely powerful. It can support scale, structure, visibility, and consistency. But scale brings complexity. Larger platforms require more implementation effort, more training, more internal discipline, and a clearer understanding of how the business wants to operate. And that's not a criticism, it's simply a reality of using scale. A system designed for a large franchise group may be exactly right for that environment. But if you're a smaller owner-managed dealership, the biggest and most powerful system may not be what you need most. Sometimes the best system is not the biggest system. Sometimes it's the one your team will actually use properly every day. So let's talk about systems such as Navigator. Navigator works particularly well with smaller owner-driven, franchised and independent dealerships that want integrated workflows, strong use of data-driven reporting and proper business processes. Navigator positions itself as an all-in-one management system covering sales, stock, after-sales, CRM and accounts in one platform. That's an important distinction because many smaller franchised and independent dealers are not looking for the largest enterprise system in the market. They're looking for a dealership system that helps their whole business work in a more joined up way. For those dealers, the goal is often more practical control. They want the sales team, the admin team, workshop accounts, and management to be working from the same information. They want less double keying, clearer reporting, some stronger processes, better visibility, and fewer gaps between the departments. They want to improve efficiency, customer service, and profit without overwhelming the business with unnecessary complexity. Now, clearly, I'm involved with Navigator, so you would expect me to believe in it, but I don't believe that Navigator is necessarily the best DMS system for every dealership in the country. No system is. Where Navigator really fits is the dealer who wants one joined up operational backbone. That could be an independent dealer, a van dealer, a motorhome dealer, or a franchise dealer where their owner directors are close to the day-to-day running of the business and want control. The key point is integrated workflow. When the inquiry, the customer, the vehicle, the deal, the workshop, the invoice, and the accounts and reports are all connected, the dealership becomes easy to manage. This is not just a software benefit, that's a business benefit. And then we have products like Gemini and Dragon. These tend to be relevant to independent dealers, smaller franchise dealerships, garages, and operations where both sales and workshop functionality are important. They include independent and franchise dealers, repairers, garages, car supermarkets, as well as specialist vehicle operations. So they sit in a space where the DMS needs to support motor trade workflow without aiming at the largest enterprise groups. This is also where the accounts question becomes important. Some dealers want fully integrated accounts inside their DMS. Others are comfortable using a third-party accounting package, particularly if their accountant or finance team already works that way. Dragon has very clear public messaging around Sage integration, while Gemini has an option of using accounts in part of its DMS or integrating with third parties. The detail matters because different systems can take different approaches to how accounting data is handled. And for a dealer system looking at this band, the question is not simply about does it do accounts? The better question may well be, how does accounting approach fit the way our business works? If accounts are linked to external package, the deal is to understand what gets posted, when it posts, whether it avoids double keying, and whether managers can still see true detailed profitability without waiting for the month end. And you can see the same applies to workshop and to after sales. If workshop is a meaningful part of your business, you may need to look beyond sales screens, need to understand how bookings, job cards, labour parts and technician activity, as well as customer communication and invoicing flow through the system. A dealer that is mainly sales-led may view workshop differently from a garage, repair or mixed sales and service after-sales operation. The systems in this band may be a good fit where the dealership needs sales and workshop capability, motor trade processes and an accounting approach that suits that business, whether that's built in, integrated or linked to a familiar third-party package. Then you have newer systems on the block, systems such as Dealer Kit, for example. Dealer Kit appears to be particularly strong around the showroom, CRM and sales operation sides of the business. It supports the view that what is built is built with a strong understanding of the showroom environment, with stock management, sales tracking, and the needs of smaller independent sales operations. Its support material also references accounting integration with Xero and Sage. For a smaller independent dealer, that showroom-focused approach can be very attractive. If your dealership lives and dies by inquiries, follow-up, stock presentation, and customer communication with converting leads into sales, then a CRM-led system may be exactly what you need. A smaller independent sales operation may not need the same depth of franchise or manufacturer reporting or parts or workshop or even integrated accounting as a larger multi-department business. It may need to know that every lead is captured, every customer is followed up, every stock record is accurate, with every advert is live and every deal being tracked properly. That's very different from the requirement from a larger franchise group. And again, the point is fit. A stronger showroom CRM system can be ideal for a smaller, sales-led independent dealer. But if you're trying to run a larger multi-department operation with workshop accounts, after sales, and maybe multiple sites with more complex reporting, you may need a different type of platform. So one of the biggest differences between DMS is accounts. As I've said already, some systems include integrated accounting, some work with third-party accounting packages, some sit more on the sales, some have CRM, but not all of them do, and some then push financial information into an account system. This matters because a dealership is not just a sales business, it's a margin business. If you can't see margin clearly, you can't manage the business properly. Integrated accounts can be powerful because the financial data is part of the same operational system. Vehicle costs, invoices, receipts, accounting postings, profit reports, and management information are all connected. That's very useful to give you one version of the truth. But third-party accounting systems can also work well. Dealers may well be comfortable with systems such as Sage or Xero. Their external accountant may know the package. Their in-house accounting people may also know it, and their reporting routines may already be built around it. The key is whether the integration is good enough, whether the dealership understands what information flows between those systems. The risk when dealers assume systems are integrated, but in practice they still have to rekey information, reconcile manually, or wait too long to understand true profit. So when choosing a DMS, do not ask vague accounting questions. Ask how it actually works. Find out whether the accounts are fully integrated or linked to a third-party package. Understand what level of detail gets posted, when it's posted, whether sales invoices, purchase invoices, receipts and vehicle costs are covered, and whether managers can see deal profitability before the month end. More importantly, think and ask about whether the accounts approach gives the dealership better control or simply moves work from one place to another. And the next big area is reporting. In 2026, dealers should expect more from their data. A DMS should not just store information, it should use that to help you understand your business and make decisions. But again, the type of reporting you need depends again on the type of dealer you are. A smaller, owner-managed dealership usually wants fast, practical answers. It wants to know what's in stock, what's aging, what is due in, and what each vehicle really owes, which inquiries are outstanding, what prep work remains, and what cash is tied up in stock, and where profits being made or lost. A larger dealer group may need more structured reporting across branches, departments and sites. It may want stock turn, gross profit trends, finance penetration, workshop utilization, group level dashboards with manufacturer reporting permissions and strict role-based visibility. Both needs are valid and there are bits in between, but they're not the same. And that's why reporting should not be seen as an afterthought. Ask to see the reports you'll actually use, not just the impressive dashboard shown during the sales demo. Think about what you need to look at every morning, every week, every month. Think about what managers need to know without waiting for someone else to prepare a spreadsheet. Good reporting should create action. If a report does not help someone make a better decision, it's just decoration. Another thing dealers underestimate is implementation. They focus very much on choosing the system, but it's not enough about introducing the system. A DMS project should not just be about software installation. It is a full change management project. Your team already has habits. Your business already has routines. People have ways of doing things. And while some of those ways are written down, others exist in someone's head. Some are efficient, some are not. Some are there for good reason. Some are there simply because nobody's challenged them for years. But when you change your DMS, you expose all of that. And that can be very, very uncomfortable. But it's also a huge opportunity. It gives you the chance to ask why. Why do certain processes exist? Whether they are still right, where work is being duplicated, where spreadsheets are being used as a substitute for proper systems, and where customers are falling through gaps, where costs are not being controlled, and where managers just lack visibility. The best DMS implementation is not just about moving from one system to another. It's about improving the way the dealership works. But that means you need buy-in. Someone in the dealership has to own the project. The team has to be trained properly. Processes have to be agreed. Bad habits should not simply be recreated in a new system. And the business has to be honest about how much how much change the team can realistically absorb. A very powerful system that your team resists may deliver far less value than a simpler system they adopt properly. Adoption matters because a DMS only works if people use it. Before choosing a DMS in 2026, I would suggest you ask a series of practical questions. Go back, start with what type of dealership are you? Franchised, independent, specialist, mixed, single site, multi-site? How many people genuinely need to use the system every day, and how process driven is the dealership today? Then move on to operational scope. Do you need sales, stock, workshop, CRM, accounts in one place? Are you comfortable with some areas being handled by linked third-party systems? Which manufacturer, advertising, finance, accounting, or other integrations are genuinely essential rather than merely nice to have? Be honest about those problems you need to solve. What do you believe are the 3 top issues holding your dealership back? Is the system expected to improve inquiry handling, cost control, reporting, workshop efficiency, etc., or all of those things? And then think about the future. What reporting do your managers need daily, weekly, monthly? Think about how much change your team can realistically absorb, and therefore will this system that you're choosing now suit your dealership in 3 years' time? And that last point is important. Don't choose a system for the dealership you are today. Choose the system for the dealership you're trying to become. If you plan to grow, will that system grow with you? If you plan to add a workshop, will it support that? If you plan to open another site, will it cope? If you plan to improve reporting, will it give you that data? If you want to professionalize your business more, will it help you build better processes? A system should support your future, not trap you in your current problems. So, what's the best system in 2026? The honest answer. If you're a large franchise group, then systems such as Keyloop or Pinewood may be right platform to consider. If you're a smaller, owner-managed franchise or independent dealership, that wants strong workflows and an integrated system, then systems such as Navigator may be a strong fit. And if you're an independent dealer, a smaller franchise dealer, or an independent garage or authorized repairer, then maybe Gemini or Dragon may be particularly relevant. And if you're in a smaller independent sales-led dealership with showroom, perhaps systems such as DealerKit may be exactly the type of platform to look at. But the point is not the names. And they won't pigeonhole quite long like that. There may be some crossover between those systems. The point is that they match what you want. The best DMS system, therefore, is not the one with the longest feature list, the biggest name, the slickest demo, or the one your competitor happens to use. The best DMS is the one that matches your size, your structure, your processes, your people, your needs. And I think that's the big reveal. In 2026, the winners will not be the dealers who simply buy more technology. Winners will be the dealers who understand their business clearly enough to choose and implement the right technology. So if you're thinking about changing DMS, my advice is simple. Don't start with your suppliers. Start with your dealership. Map your processes. Understand your problems. Be honest about your team. Decide what reporting information you need. Do you want integrated accounts, integrated CRM? Think about where your business is going, and only then look at the systems. Because once you know what sort of dealership you are, the DMS system becomes much clearer. The worst DMS choice is not usually a bad system. It's a good system bought by the wrong type of dealer. So therefore, the best system is the one that helps your dealership become the dealership you want to become. Thanks for listening to Dealer Tech Talk. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so you never miss an episode. We also provide a number of downloadable guides that align with our episodes, and these can be downloaded by https://www.dealertechtalkuk/guides. Dealer Tech Talk is sponsored by DMS Navigator and by Miles Companion. I'm Simon Verona. Join me next time as we tackle more ways to simplify dealership success with technology.